When Democrats talk about bad behavior that Republicans do, they talk about their bad behavior as a limiting principle for their future behavior. So a Democrat will say, when they go low, we go high. We don't want to stoop to their level. We don't want to become them. A Republican will always use a Democrat's past behavior as an excuse to do even worse. Harry Reid threatened the nuclear option for federal judges? Okay. We're going to take away your Supreme Court pick. Oh, you'll never hear Republicans say, well, the Democrats did that. We don't want to be like them. They'll say, oh, they politically prosecuted under Biden. No, didn't happen. So we're going to do it 20 times worse. Like, oh, okay.
What they're going to do is, what the Democrats will do is they're going to make Puerto Rico a state. They're going to make D.C. a state. They're going to pack the court. They're going to end up with more electoral votes. They're going to end up with 4 senators because of the 2 states. And they're going to do this 100%. They would have done it, except Manchin and Sinema got in their way. They would have done it. So if they're going to do it, I would do it. I would do it before them.
And you think that the longer this...
I don't think I'm actually giving them strategies. I'm just identifying strategies. Although I get it, I do get a little bit scared. But like, you see that this is perfectly the thing, right? So let's say, okay, here's me, and I really want to kill this guy. All right, that's my huge gun. Okay, now if I kill him, this is unhinged. No American will ever accept this. Okay, so what do? There's a few things you can do. The 2 common Republican strategies are, one is you redefine the word, right? So we saw this with like the Medicaid stuff. I'm not actually killing him. I don't know how you would redefine killing, but like, you know, with the Medicaid stuff, it's like, well, we didn't actually cut Medicaid. We changed eligibility requirements. So it was never cut and we didn't do anything to it. We just changed eligibility requirements, right? That's like one cut strategy. But the second, but if you need to kill somebody, if you need to go hard, then the actual strategy they do is like, okay, I need to do this thing. And I know that if I do this thing, it'll be unhinged. So what do I need to do? I need to go back into the past and I need to make it sound like Democrats already did this thing that's like, but even worse. They did it like times 10. And as long as I can fabricate this reality, okay, retrospectively, if I can go back into the past and I can do this, now here, this doesn't even seem that extreme, right? They already did this in 20 million times worse. And so we should do it to prevent them from doing it even worse in the future. So they're playing like ghost tit for tat. They're playing ghost tit for tat strategy. Well, what they're doing is it's like tat, 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 where the tit is like imagined by these guys, and they're pretending that they're getting retribution on the behavior from the Democrats that never actually happened. That's the strategy. And you see him completely play this out here in probably like 20 seconds. They were going to try to make D.C. and Puerto Rico a state, and they just couldn't because of 2 senators. That's bullshit. That was never going to... I don't even know if the majority of the Democratic Party, like electorally, would be able to support that. I don't even know. That would need like a constitutional... not a constitutional convention. I don't know what all you need to add states. But this would have been a whole ass ordeal. This was never on the table. We couldn't even do 15-hour minimum wage. You think we're adding D.C. and Puerto Rico as states? No shot. Shut the up, okay? But he's saying that like, well, you know, they tried to do it, and they were going to, and they were just barely stopped. So now we should do it. Also, remember the thing I said before, you should always remember this, okay? When Democrats talk about bad behavior that Republicans do, they talk about their bad behavior as a limiting principle for their future behavior. So a Democrat will say, the Republicans killed a guy. When they go low, we go high. We don't want to stoop to their level. We don't want to become them. So a Democrat will always use a Republican's past behavior as a limiting principle for their own behavior. We don't want to become, they go low, we go high. A Republican will always use a Democrat's past behavior as an excuse to do even worse, right? Like, oh, well, Harry Reid threatened the nuclear option for federal judges? Okay. We're going to take away your Supreme Court pick. Oh. Like, it's always... You'll never hear Republicans say, well, the Democrats did that. We don't want to be like them. They'll say, oh, they politically prosecuted under Biden. No, didn't happen. So we're going to do it 20 times worse. Like, oh, okay.
And they're going to do this 100%. They would have done it, except Manchin and Sinema got in their way. They would have done it. So if they're going to do it, I would do it. I would do it before them.
And you think
It's a
that
little
the
like
longer
Israel.
this,
It's a little like Israel. Israel attacked first. That attack was very, very powerful. I was very much in charge of that. When Israel attacked Iran first, that was a great day for Israel because that attack did more damage than the rest of them put together.
Vance said this explicitly.
In any offense, but when you talk about what could another administration do, to take a wild, hypothetical example totally off the top of my head, what if Joe Biden sent the Federal Bureau of Investigation to start arresting his political opponents?
Oh, that's bullshit.
Okay? So here's something that I want conservatives, I want every conservative to remember. It's an important part of my entire political philosophy is we cannot be afraid to do something because the left might do it in the future. The left is already going to do it regardless of whether we do it.
Oh, there you go. But the only difference is that it's so crazy because the difference is that I want my messaging to be closer to the Republicans' messaging. And then when I message like they do, everybody on the left, goes unhinged and screams at me. It's not as bad now, but people are like, no, we can't say this. We're going, this isn't, it's not lowering the temperature, blah, blah, blah. And then the Republicans do my messaging, but the fact pattern is exactly the opposite, right? I think that we should message like the Republicans because the Republicans have destroyed our rule of law. The Republicans think that they should message the way they do because the Democrats have destroyed the rule of law, even though they're destroying the rule of law, and they want to make excuses to do even more. That's crazy that he just said that.
Afraid to do something because the left might do it in the future. The left is already going to do it regardless of whether we do it. That is the takeaway of the last 40 years.
We're not. No Democratic president has mobilized a National Guard against the will of the people who run these states. No Democratic president has started crypto schemes. No Democratic president has tried to run for a third term or joked about it this much and posted AI memes. I mean, no Democratic president has tried to sign executive orders that overturn birthright citizenship or other constitutional amendments. When J.D. Vance tries to point to some non-example from Biden, what do you mean Biden ordered his
because the Mar-a-Lago shit. Even though this was the most rock solid federal case, the most rock solid fucking indictment ever, and that's why you saw a mentally retarded Supreme Court justice shitpost into an unrelated Supreme Court decision so that Eileen Cannon could kick that case down the road until Trump won re-election and got dismissed forever. To compare the Mar-a-Lago stuff with the FBI to anything happening under the current Trump administration is delusional. The mortgage fraud, we think that Bolton did mortgage fraud. Oh my God.
To go after anybody. They keep saying this, but they have no actual example of Biden ordering his DOJ to do that. I proved this on CNN by, asking Scott Jennings over and over, what's your proof? They never have any. But not only that, to make matters worse, Trump literally did ask Pam Bondi in a Truth Social post directly. Yep. He said, hey, Pam, go after these three people.
Did we just watch a clip of me saying that? Yeah, I think I might have said it to Tom earlier. This is probably one of the worst public statements from a president of all time.
And 2 out of those 3 people have been gone after ever since that post. It's so directly, clearly.
With the prosecutor. With the same prosecutor, I think, right? He calls out that shitty insurance attorney lady or whatever, right?
Obvious. It's persecution, and J.D. Vance is not answering that kid's question. The kid's question is very, 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 savvy. It's smart. He's saying, hey, dude, we're all sitting here cheering while you're arresting opponents and mobilizing the military. Could this potentially backfire? And J.D. Vance is, no. J.D. Vance is like, no, this has already all happened. Trust me. Like, the Democrats have already done all this.
Yeah.
Nobody's done all this before,
no one
bro.
Has done
if
this.
you think Merrick Garland and Joe Biden were out there doing radical shit, then you weren't paying attention. And
I think Letitia James was mortgage fraud and Bolton was documents. Was Bolton documents? I thought Comey was documents. Maybe, Comey might have been lying to Congress. Bolton might have been documents. Maybe just Letitia James was mortgage fraud, maybe.
Obviously, he's just grifting, trying to consolidate power as much as possible. I'm going to leave it there. If you appreciate the videos on the Adam Mako channel, all that I ask is that you drop a like, subscribe.
Allegedly, sorry.
Peace out.
Our assignment everywhere is to send the strongest fighters for the working class wherever possible. In some places, like Virginia for the gubernatorial seat, that's going to look like Abigail Spanberger. In New York City, unequivocally, it is Zohra Mamdani.
What a fucking queen. True. Yep. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Aren't they trying to get Schiff on mortgage fraud as well? Oh, I wonder if he was indicted already. Maybe, actually.
The officer
voice, not mine. The officer sandwich guy is charged with assaulting testifies that he could feel the impact of the sandwich through his ballistic vest, and it, quote, exploded all over my uniform. He says he could, quote, smell the onions and the mustard. Following this, the defense brought the video up and pointed out that the sandwich was still covered in paper, had no mustard emerging from it, no way to tell what condiments were on it because it was completely wrapped in paper. In fact, that sandwich hasn't exploded at all, has it? The defense. Government's next witness, Metro's Transit Police Department Detective Diana Henry, describes the sandwich throw as like a baseball pitch. And hand to God, the defense attorney referred to the police officer as a seasoned cop. These are all real things happening in a court of law in Donald Trump's America. We're spending 3 days trying to hang a misdemeanor conviction on a guy who threw a sandwich that an alpha male warrior warfighter with probably 5 Punisher tattoos felt all the way through his ballistic vest, like the princess on the mattress with the pea in it.
I'm happy he didn't get charged, but how the fuck is it not assault? No, he did get charged. He got indicted. This is the trial. The jury just downvoted the indictment. No, I shouldn't say the indictment. They said he wasn't guilty.
Is part of the sandwich guy's defense that the cop looked hungry?
I mean, I haven't been in the... I haven't
He looked
been
hungry.
In
I was trying to give him a sandwich.
We need to update, I feel like, the ballistic vests. I'm pretty concerned if he could feel a thundering shake from the Subway sub. I mean, what would happen if it was a paintball? What would happen if it was? What would happen if it was more of a hard crust, like a
baguette?
Bread, yeah.
I mean, a full baguette.
Dude, imagine a Jimmy John's commercial where they run like the same thing, and a guy throws a Jimmy John's sandwich at a cop, and the cop explodes. And it's like, don't eat that weak ass Subway shit. We pack way more meat into our sandwiches. Jimmy John's, Kino, okay.
Like a Sabbath round.
Guys, should we do it? Should we let's run through. I know.
Give me 30 seconds on sandwich guy before we go back to do election recap.
Okay, what more do you have?
Let me have some joy.
I don't have 30 seconds on the sandwich guy. He's good. I'm glad it looks like he won't be convicted. Solidarity with sandwich guy. Actually, don't throw things at cops, but also don't be babies, guys. I would like to come back because I'm in a good mood about the election. I would like to talk about that.
Yeah, are you price lining for flights right now? Because Spanberger is up to 56.9% of the vote share.
God. No, but tell me what Cheryl's at.
Cheryl is up by 13 points with 86% of the votes in, baby. You might as well just get the travel agent going on that. You're going.
That is amazing. Here's some other races though that we
It was a huge sweep. Dems won like every single important election 2 days ago. It was crazy.
And talked about that. I'd just like to throw in there because the Democrats are winning absolutely everywhere in absolutely every context, including there was a big Supreme Court race in Pennsylvania where they needed to have, there were 3 Democrats who were up to be either, forget the term, but it was like either kept, retained, I believe is what they call it. They were all retained. And this may sound like a small thing to people, but the Supreme Court in Pennsylvania in the middle of a contested election is actually going to matter quite a bit. And so that was a big race. It's interesting that Governor Shapiro was all over this. You know who wasn't anywhere to be heard from in Pennsylvania? John Fetterman was not there. There was also a couple of like.
He was busy defending Trump's ballroom.
He was
on the Larry Trump show. Over on Rumble.
Heck, yeah, great stuff.
Future of the Democratic Party, John Fetterman.
Yeah, I would love to go replay some JVL from when 50%
of the time. I'm right 100% of the time.
Yeah. Also in Georgia, there were some down ballot seats. I can't remember for exactly what, but no Democrat has ever won them. There were 2 Democrats that won in Georgia, which I think, even though it's just a little thing, is probably going to make John Ossoff happy to see that.
The Public Service Commissioner, very important role. We appreciate.
The Dems proceed for the next 12 months to take back the House, at minimum, if not the Senate.
Govern effectively, get shit done, show people you're making their lives better, and demonstrate how the extremism and the chaos of Donald Trump is making their lives worse. How it's screwing over the farmer because the tariffs are making their stuff cost more and shut down markets. How it's making your healthcare cost double in Pennsylvania, which is what's going to happen when the ACA subsidies go away. When it's going to shutter rural hospitals because they gutted Medicaid in order to give a tax cut to people who didn't need it. I think being able to show the work, both your own positive affirmative work to make people's lives better, and also the work Donald Trump's doing that's making people's lives worse. We do that. We carry that momentum forward into the midterms. We win the House back. There's finally some accountability there. We win a bunch of governor's races there. I think we've seen just how critically important governors are in this country. I think then we're going to be in a much stronger position going forward into the next presidential cycle.
Base, true. Why are people crying about GTA 6 being delayed? Wasn't GTA 5 like one of the most successful games, or the most successful game in like all of fucking human history? Like, chill. Give them a little bit longer to work on it. Why do you care? No, that's Minecraft? Oh, maybe. Oh shit, wait. If you copy an image, does it copy a whole GIF? Fuck, I don't think it does. One sec, sorry. Hell has frozen over. What is this? Marjorie Taylor Greene on Pelosi retirement. I will praise Nancy Pelosi. I'm very impressed at her ability to get things. Marjorie Taylor Greene has kind of been branching out on her own a bit lately. I don't know if she's like gearing up for post-Trump or something, or if she just thinks that she's like so untouchable that she has enough political capital to kind of divert away from Trump. She might. Like I think my prediction would be that this is a crazy predict. I think that Marjorie Taylor Greene would have a better chance of running for president and winning than JD Vance in a post-Trump world. That would be my prediction. I don't think either of them would win. Hopefully not. But that'd be my guess. She's very mad that Trump fucked her from a Senate seat run.
MTG.
Cold take, JD is nothing without Trump. I agree. I think JD Vance is nothing without Trump. I think he's less than like a DeSantis type. JD Vance's political like popularity with MAGA is 100% on loan from Trump. Whereas Marjorie Taylor Greene is crazy enough, but entertaining enough and everything else that she was a legitimate QAnon supporter. She's like cut from the same cloth as those fucking lunatics. JD Vance is not.
Here's some tea for you. MTG, people are like, oh my God, she's saying all of these things. Like, what's gotten into her lately? Oh, like she's bucking against Trump. She's bucking against the administration. Marjorie Taylor Greene wanted to run for Senate in Georgia. She wanted to run for Senate earlier this year in the state of Georgia. She wanted to be the Republican nominee for Senate. So she was gearing up for that statewide race, and Trump told her no.
Wait,
Trump
why?
said no. And the White House and Trump land shut down Marjorie Taylor Greene's personal ambitions to run for Senate. And she has been on a revenge tour.
There was another candidate Trump wanted?
Since.
Socialist Venezuela, and you see what happened to those places. For generations, Miami has been a haven for those fleeing communist tyranny in South Africa. I mean, if you take a look at what's going on in parts of South Africa, look at South Africa, what's going on. Look at South America, what's going on. You know, I'm not going to, we have a G20 meeting in South Africa. South Africa shouldn't even be in the Gs anymore, because what's happened there is bad. I'm not going. I told him I'm not going. I'm not going to represent our country there. It shouldn't be there. Take a look at what's happening in different parts of South America. Take a look at what's happening in different parts of the world. But now the Democrats are so...
Like, come on, it's the easiest country to know that it's in Africa because it's called South Africa. It's like, it feels like a Family Guy like quiz. Like, what country is Cambodia in? And the kid thinks like, oh, And the next question's like, what country is Azerbaijan? And they go like, oh, and then it's like, Peter, what continent is South Africa in? Well, it can't be Africa. That's so obvious. There's no way they would ask me that question, right?
Socialist.
But I'm confused because it doesn't even sound like a misspeak. The teleprompter said South America, but he misread it. Did he? It sounds like no, I don't think so. It sounds like he's actually conceptually mixing this up. Hold on.
Socialist Venezuela, and you see what happened to those places. For generations, Miami has been a haven for those fleeing communist tyranny in South Africa.
So here he seems to be mixing up South America with South Africa. That's just a misspeak, right? Oh, people are fleeing communism, whatever, from South America, Central America to Miami. Okay, that seems like a misspeak.
I mean, if you take a look at what's going on in parts of South Africa, look at South Africa, what's going on. Look.
Now he's riffing.
Look at South America, what's going on.
Now he's reading again.
You know, I'm not going to. We have a G20 meeting in South Africa.
Now he's bringing up the G20 meeting in South Africa. Now he's talking about South Africa, the country now, right? He's not talking about the continent of South America. So
Africa shouldn't even be in the G's anymore because what's happened there is bad. I'm not going. I told him I'm not going. I'm not going to represent our country there. It shouldn't be there. Take a look at what's happening in different parts of South America. Take a look.
Ooh, me and Tom argue a lot about, because I said that I had that whole strategy. Like, these are the things that you guys said that you worried about. They never happened. And then these are things that we worried about, and all of them have happened. So what's going on? And then Tom tried to go to the senile thing. And then I argued, I think there's more evidence for Trump being senile than Biden. And he's like, well, no, we're so off here. And I'm like, okay, well, let's run down examples. Has Biden ever made, this mistake before, saying he was going to Russia to talk to Putin when that's just a crazy thing. That was like one example. I was like, well, no, but there was a secret group of people running the White House. I'm like, okay, well, hold on. What is our evidence of that? Let's look at the executive orders. Did you ever see Biden have an executive order brought to him and explained to him? And he's like, well, no, but Trump probably, the executive order was probably given to Trump by them in order to further his agenda. And I'm like, who's them? He's like, well, like his people. Who are they? Who's them? Because if it's not Trump's executive order, it's coming from somebody else. And he's like, well, I'm sure that information is knowable. I was like, no, it's not. Why would you know if he's not writing it? I was like, what about Trump not knowing who he's pardoning? And he's like, well, Trump might not know who he's pardoning all the time. That might be, and it's like, okay, has Biden ever, and at the end, it was just like, well, it's common sense. Like, give me an example. One example. Just one example ever. Yeah. I don't know when they're posting that. Hopefully it's posted in a day or two, but.
Look at what's happening in different parts of the world, but now the Democrats are so...
This guy just posts nonstop bangers. Ever since he became a fan of mine instead of an anti-fan, his tweets have been way better, okay? There's a correlation there. They genuinely think their voters are retarded, but fair play to them, their voters actually are f***ing retards.
Yeah, but the USDA has reported, and all of the economists have shown, food prices always go up. There's an inflationary level that's built into grocery prices, but they're going up at a much slower pace. In other words, the economic policies, even though all the provisions of the Working Families Tax Cut have not yet been implemented, that's going to make a dramatic effect. It's going to be like jet fuel to the economy. We have all these pro-growth policies that will bring down costs.
Remember how I said they know what they're saying is retarded? When it was Biden, they were saying we need to lower the cost of groceries. We need to lower them. Now, when Trump is here, well, you see, actually, inflation is really just a rate of change. And even if the rate of change is lower, as long as it's above zero, the actual cost that function is a derivative of is actually always going to be increasing. So we know that even if you lower the derivative of the price, that doesn't mean that the price is ever going to go lower. So we always expect to see, like, excuse me, where the was this understanding? Where was Mr. Calc AB student like 1 year ago when Trump was campaigning? Where did this come from? Excuse me, what?
Even though
it's just retarded.
Fuel to the economy, we have all these pro-growth policies that will bring down costs, increase wages, increase jobs, and more.
Are Republican politicians bullshitting, or are they just actually retarded? This guy is evil. I wouldn't call him. He bullshits in an evil way.
Access to the economic rung so that more people.
Mike Johnson is just crazy. Got him. Ooh, you got. Were you this concerned about inflation when it was over 3 times higher in the last admin? Was I the one that campaigned on bringing down grocery prices on day one? I'll take that as a no. As a partisan hack, I was unconcerned when inflation was 3 times high as not. Stay on topic, retard. Which candidate said the phrase, when I win, I will immediately bring prices down, starting on day one? The voters are retarded. Ironically, it seems you don't understand what Johnson is saying in this clip. He got him. This guy got. Utter annihilation. Total Tatsanyua destruction, okay? But the reality is Sid was actually the retard in this exchange, because this account is just a bot from a Russian IP address. It's probably not even real. Like half of Trump's supporters on X. There are so many different things that you could lay it all out on like this. I kind of did with that guy in the truck running into the Mormon church. You could lay it out too. There are so many different things that you could lay out like this. On Friday, I read about the Trump administration's latest foray into National Socialism. Trump wants to build nuclear power plants. He has chosen Westinghouse to build them. He will pay Westinghouse $80 billion for the projects. In return, he has compelled Westinghouse to pay him, the government, 20% of any cash distributions. Between now and the end of January 2029, the government can compel Westinghouse to go public via an IPO, at which point the government will be awarded 20% ownership of the company, likely making it the single largest shareholder. This is literally seizing the means of production, but to, make America great again or something. Other of Trump's National Socialist policies include refusing to enforce a 2024 law requiring the sale of TikTok until he was able to compel that the business be sold at an extortionately discounted price to his political allies, creating a golden share of U.S. steel for his government, requiring NVIDIA and AMD to pay the government 15% of all revenues from chip sales to China, acquiring a 10% ownership stake in chipmaker Intel, acquiring a 15% stake in rare earth producers, MP Materials, a 10% stake in Lithium America Core, and a 10% stake in Trilogy Metals, Inc., creating a strategic Bitcoin reserve and digital asset stockpile, taking steps to create a sovereign wealth fund to be used as a vehicle for government investment. He's like, this isn't even socialist, right? Because socialist is you expropriate it, give it to the workers, whatever bullshit. This is, he's using National Socialism, obviously, as a center for Nazism, but this is what a fascist regime does, is the dictatorship starts to commandeer or control the corporations, and so the corporations are just state-owned entities basically that are run at the behest of a single party kind of authoritarian dictator guy. Like, but it's kind of weird. People are making these comparisons all year. Oh yeah. I mean, I've seen a lot of. Oh, there's a different thing. Going back to the true under Biden. Let's go, Brandon. Why is eggs so dang expensive? Under Trump, the cost of eggs is a complex interplay between inflation and other factors like bird flu, of which the president has little control. True. I'm not paying this back, but MTG sees the writing on the wall. Number one funder of the GOP by far, runs a lot of internal polling in her areas. She's going to be the front to turn against Trump. Maybe, yeah. That's what I'm saying. I think, but yeah, she's popular. She's like their Pelosi-ish figure. She raises so much. I think if you can link me source to that, because I've read that before, but I don't have anything recent. I think she is I think she's the number one fundraiser, I believe, in the Republican Party right now. She has a lot of political capital outside of Trump. I don't believe Vance has any.